welcome to my channel. So we were discussing the year that our prime suspect attacked a 72-year-old American female who managed to survive and tell us about it. And so I just don't understand um, how somebody could actually go and live through all those years and become such a horrific criminal. I wish I could understand, because if we can understand how he got to be that way, if indeed he is the one who did anything to Maddie, um, maybe we can try to stop it in the future with other such criminals, right? And so that's one of my motives for doing all of this, is not only to get to the bottom of the Madeleine McCann case, but to prevent these things from happening in the future. And I know that's a tall order, because I don't even know if it's possible. So anyway, guys, I could talk about what he did to her. Uh, there are not too many details other than the fact that he bound her and he tortured her. He tortured her. And so when we come to think of a 3-year-old little tiny child like Madeleine McCann, she would not have stood a chance. However, uh, going back to the man who had a look in his camper van and asked him what he did for a living, and then he told them, well, I transport drugs, I hide kids in here, nobody can ever find them. That guy that asked was actually Nicole's father. And so I have to treat that with a little bit of a grain of salt. However, I'm hoping, maybe against hope, that he actually did transport Madeleine McCann. We know he was a human trafficker, right? He even admitted it. All those photos that he had, probably stolen, hacked from other cameras, he sold them, guys. He must have been in the business of selling images like that. And so, I know that he was a horrific pedophile, but if indeed he did transport Madeleine into Europe the way he did with narcotics and drugs, maybe there's a good chance that Maddie is still alive. I I don't know what hope there is, but there is at least a little bit of hope. And so I'm praying that she wasn't harmed to the point where she passed away. And so, okay, let's get on with the timeline. So 2 years later, still in Portugal in 2007, that's a big year in this case. He moves out of a farmhouse and into his camper van, which is now linked to the whole case of Madeleine McCann and actually those of other missing children as well, at least one other. And so the farmhouse was cleaned out after he left. And what happened was that the owners found an entire bag of wigs and exotic clothing, female clothes. And so, guys, let's go back to some of the clues, and maybe in another episode, and go over some of these sketches and witnesses. There were a few, right? People who were uh, spotted, or people who were seen, or people who came forward with little bits of information. Obviously, this guy was a cross-dresser. And so that is weird. But the thing that bothers me is that he could have been posing as women. So instead of looking for him, maybe he was posing as a nanny in the babysitting service, which the McCanns didn't use, but just the same. He obviously didn't drive into Ocean Club with his camper van, because his camper van was very noticeable. He referred to it as his hippie van. It attracted a lot of attention. And so he didn't want people, I'm assuming, okay? He didn't want anybody to know that he was there that night. And so what he probably did, what he might have did, now this is far-fetched, he might have dressed as a woman and rented a car and drove up to Ocean Club. So I'm just throwing that out there, just so that you guys know where my mind is headed with this case. That bag of clothes that the owners of the farmhouse found, that's a big deal to me. It's not just one of those things. It's a really big deal that can probably make so much difference to the clues that we've been given all along throughout this case, right? And so, okay, let's get on with the timeline. Okay, so this is the one that I was confused with. In August 2019, the prime suspect is charged with that American tourist's attack, who was staying in the same complex in 2005. And so they finally caught him for that. And so in 2019, he was also convicted of the attack and extortion of that same tourist based on DNA evidence. And so they arrested him, and then he was tried, and they found him guilty. But he was given a 7-year sentence. But this has not been imposed pending, and I can't believe it. He appealed it, so it just... I can't believe this. Okay, guys, I'm going to see you in the next video and continue with this long, long list.